Hey! Hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. Tom Clancy's The Division. Quite a controversial game, eh? Got a lot of people talking for a lot of different reasons. Like any and all video games, some people like it, some people don't like it. However, I would argue that whether you like the game or not, The Division is kind of a video game that the industry and the community needed. I think we needed this game. I think we needed a game like The Division to come around. One, to kind of expand the consistent content RNG, RPG, open world, MMO, shooter genre. This subgenre that I have talked about before, that has slowly been growing and gaining popularity via video games like Destiny and Warframe, and I would even argue some older video games like Defiance. Maybe squeeze in a bit of Borderlands and Dying Light in there. And The Division, to me, is another AAA video game, another big budget title that shows the possibilities of an open world that is seamlessly connected and designed, along with its single player and multiplayer aspects also being seamlessly integrated into the open world and into the transition of gameplay modes. Even if you don't like The Division for its gameplay or its style of game, The Division is undeniably impressive in the possibilities it shows off for this emerging and popular subgenre that's all about loot, leveling up, having PvE and PvP content linked and integrated in many ways, on top of having expansive maps and levels. And I think in this case, The Division is a unique game that adds to that and shows off more of what this new emerging subgenre can do and its possibilities. Because I really enjoy these RPG, RNG, consistent content, looter, shooter type video games. As I have stated before, they're games that have a lot of replayability. They're games that reward you for your time and effort. The more time and effort you put into these games, you get better gear, weapons, stuff that you feel satisfied and accomplished for obtaining, but that you can also do alongside friends, and then use against your friends, hehe. But The Division also does something else for this subgenre. It shows us different mistakes that it can make. Destiny, the video game that really built up and gained notoriety for this subgenre, its two major mistakes was poor execution of the story and lore, actually getting the player invested in the world of the game, and having enough content to justify the AAA game price tag. Now, The Division made up for Destiny's mistakes. It actually does have a deep story. It may not be the most interesting or compelling, but there are actual well-written characters, well-written dialogue, explanations, and backstory to the characters and the world to get you invested in the game. And The Division has more than enough content to justify the $60 price tag. However, The Division makes new mistakes that hopefully future games in this subgenre can learn from and make better games from. The Division's first mistake is not varying things up enough. While it is a well-structured and well-constructed game, you're mostly fighting the same enemy types in a similar manner, and if the individual player playing the game isn't enthusiastic about the gameplay, then they're going to become quickly disinterested by the noticeably repetitive nature of the game. However, do keep in mind that every single video game ever made is repetitive. Just some are more noticeable than others. And The Division's second and most brutal mistake is how it handled statistics. The stats, the numbers. When the game first launched, granted many of these issues have been fixed now, but there were certain statistics that could be exploited. Certain pieces of gear, certain abilities, certain weapons that all work together with one another and threw the game's balance way off, making PvP in the Dark Zone, The Division's multiplayer, insanely unfair. And while this has been fixed, this has been updated, it's needless to say that a lot of people who got the game and played the game day one felt like the multiplayer was utterly broken. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's almost kind of a good thing that The Division launched with these kinds of problems, and same thing with Destiny. It's almost a good thing that these games launched with the problems that they had, so future developers can learn from the mistakes of games made in the past, so that when they make their own new consistent content RNG, RPG, MMO, open world, shooter games, they'll see what Destiny and The Division did and not make those same mistakes. However, there is another reason I think we needed a game like The Division, because quite honestly, The Division is a breath of fresh air, and a huge risk on Ubisoft's part. This is a brand new IP, a brand new franchise. We live in a world, a society where people love nostalgia and established franchises. And The Division is something new. It's a new IP, a new franchise, and Ubisoft took a big risk with this. While it does have the Tom Clancy name attached to it, it's still a new game, a new IP, The Division. We've never seen The Division, we never heard of The Division. This is brand spanking new. And while it may not appeal to everyone and not everyone may like this game, The Division is, however, inarguably a unique hybrid game. And as I just said before, a big risk on Ubisoft's part. And the reason I keep reiterating that is because more AAA video game publishers and more video game developers need to take chances, need to take risks, need to make new IPs, new franchises. But most of these companies, most of the people in these companies are terrified to make something new, to make something that's not already established, that doesn't have an established customer or fan base. Because there's always the possibility that it may fail. I mean, let's be honest here, while there are a lot of critics and very pessimistic individuals that cry out, "We want originality," no you don't, and you're lying to yourself if you do. Because nothing is original. Nothing is original. Everything's been done before. And what happens when an established franchise that we all know and love comes back for another game or another movie, we all jump on it. But when something new and different comes along, maybe not different in terms of originality, but different in sense of name, content, and context, let's admit we're all a bit hesitant. Like, oh, this is new. This isn't what I know. Will it be good? Will it be bad? Will I like it? Will I dislike it? I don't know. Do I want to take the plunge? There's always that timidness when something new comes along, when a new franchise, a new IP comes along. At least in the age we live in now. Back in the late 20th century and early 21st century, creativity was booming and everyone was trying something new, inventing these new characters, these new worlds, these new stories for us to experience. However, nowadays, people are a lot more critical and a lot more timid. Not sure if they want to take the plunge and invest their money and time into this new thing when they could just devote that to something they already know. Something they know they already like. So, even if you don't like The Division, props to it. Props to The Division. Props to Ubisoft for just making something that isn't a sequel or a remake. For trying their own spin on an idea that has been slowly bubbling and gaining attention and love. At least, in my personal opinion, I think we need more games like The Division that just say, fuck it. Let's try something new. Let's be our own thing. But hey, you know what? At the end of the day, at the end of this video, this is all just my opinion and perspective. What are your thoughts, feelings, opinions, and perspectives on The Division and the topic of this video? Let me know in the comment section below. I love reading comments. I get nearly enough comments. Please leave a comment. If you like the video in any way, shape, or form, please hit the like button. Hitting the like button helps you, helps me, helps everybody involved in the video. You hit the like button. And if you want to support me and my channel, then please share the video on social media, Twitter and Facebook. And finally, if you want to support and help me out directly, then please pledge and become a patron on my Patreon. Anyways, guys, that's been a video, and I will see you all later.